Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Zenista Tarot. It's Felicity here, and in this video I'm going to talk about how you can learn astrology, the occult knowledge, or tarot reading. Now I would like to tell you that I do not claim to be a professional astrologer, and sometimes I do read charts and I do have a certain knowledge in astrology, and sometimes the knowledge come to me out of nowhere, and I believe in the message that I got. And also sometimes it's just some kind of occult knowledge that I obtain suddenly, like there's a muse, inspiration comes suddenly, and then I know how to deal with certain things, or look at the birth chart, or how to look at the tarot cards and interpret it. And now I'm going to share with you my own experience of obtaining the occult knowledge, reading tarot cards, or the knowledge of astrology. And I feel that this is what I think. You do not need to follow my path, because I understand that everyone has their own path to walk on, and it's just for your reference, okay? And what I feel most important thing is that it's better that you have a spiritual understanding of things. It is because sometimes the knowledge comes from the divine, and actually the birth chart indicates your contract with the divine, your contract with God. Okay, so before you came to this earth, this 3D world, and you make a deal with the divine, with your spirit guides, with the angels, okay, on what you would like to learn and what you would like to experience, good or bad. Okay, there's no good or bad in the perspective of a soul, because from a soul perspective, it's all about growth, personal growth. All right. So our ego always, have understanding of right or wrong, and good or bad. But from soul perspective, from the divine perspective, there's only growth. There's only unconditional love for this world, for the divine, from the divine, and for the people that you work with, and for the people that surround you. All right. So what you would like to do is to work on your spirituality, to work on this spiritual path, because once you work on yourself, you tear down the ego wall. There's a wall surround us. There's some kind of programming happen, the society, or maybe your ancestor, maybe your parents, people that have certain influence on you since your childhood. Okay, so first we need to tear down all the illusions, like illusions, you and I. Okay, this kind of separation, the illusion of separation. So when you work on your emotions, you work on your psychological issue, you work on your childhood issue, you work on the self. And once you tear down all the ego system, that kind of mind chattering, once you do that, and you are able to open up to the divine, because the divine, the angels, the higher beings communicate with us 24/7. It's up to you to get that knowledge from the divine. All right. So once you do that, it's easier for you to get the message, to get the guidance, to get the occult knowledge, to get the astrology knowledge from the divine. All right. So and the second reason why you need to be working on your spiritual path is because sometimes we cannot always rely on the books, because books are written by humans. they have their own perspectives, all right? Humans sometimes are not perfect, okay? It doesn't mean that everyone has to be perfect. You do not need to be perfect to write a book, all right? But sometimes humans have their own understanding of things. Sometimes we humans have ego. I also have an ego, all right? So sometimes maybe people will admit, omitting something, leaving something that have not been put into their book, or it doesn't mean that they do it intentionally, but sometimes humans are not perfect, okay? And so the books are here for your reference. The books are here for your reference. You can read the book and then you understand the books from your own perspective, and this is the way to do it. Because sometimes you have a certain understanding of things. You have your own understanding of the tarot cards or the occult knowledge or the birth chart, okay? You will have your own interpretation once you walk on your spiritual path, okay? And you do not always stick to the book, okay? You do not always work by the book, all right? And what else? Yes, sometimes when you have your own perspective and other people have their own perspective, you will have a more open-minded mentality to receive other people's knowledge, to understand other people's perspective without getting into conflict or getting into arguments. Because once we have understanding, with spiritual understanding, and you will not get yourself into the vicious cycle of, okay, vicious cycle of I shoot you, you shoot me, I shoot you back, this kind of vicious cycle. Oftentimes I see that in the community, astrology community, or the occult knowledge community, oftentimes people have their own understanding and then they feel that, okay, this is the right system. Or for example, astrology, okay, sidereal system is the system that I work with, or the tropical system is the best I think of, okay, I think this is the best, this is better than that system. And oftentimes people get into that kind of conflict. This is some type of ego talks as well, because only the ego will think that, okay, this system is good, this system is the best, this system can do so much, and without this system things can go wrong. Only the ego will say things like this, okay? The soul always try to understand things from other people's perspective, and it's okay not to agree on things. It's okay, you do not need to agree with each other, or you do not need to come to an agreement among different communities, okay? Because the divine will give you knowledge that best suit you. What do I mean by that? It's because sometimes, you know, when you are on a spiritual path and you work with the divine give you knowledge, and guess what? They will give you more knowledge than what you can get from the books, all right? And it's like certain inspiration come to you and you already know how to read the birth chart. You already know this person's path, all right? So it's what's more, once you are on your spiritual path and you offload a lot of ego mentality, the mind chatter, the divine will give you a lot of knowledge without you going to find the books, find the best system for you, okay? And what is more is that you will develop your own system. Like, you know, I only know limited knowledge, okay? I only know certain basic knowledge of the astrology, and yet I can develop my own year forecast system using Chinese calendar as well as the Western calendar. And you know, I do not need to tell others about this knowledge because, you know, I work for the people surrounding me, and I just would like to just gain the knowledge for myself. And so that is why you need to work on your spiritual path, because you will develop your own system to read other people's birth chart, to give a year forecast, or maybe you can combine the tropical with the sidereal, or maybe you combine the west with the east system. All right, so to me, I feel that different system can have a different knowledge and will give you a certain understanding, and there's no right or wrong or good or bad. What you can do is that you can combine. Sometimes, the knowledge come to you, and then you know what to do. And just like meditation, sometimes I follow guided meditation, but after certain time I feel that okay, I add a little bit of here, and I add a little bit of this in my meditation, and I create my own meditation to combine the guided meditation. All right, so this is why it's very important to develop your spiritual understanding of things, because the divine will work with you, and it's easier for the divine to work with you because you open up and you can reach up. And then when inspiration come to you, you know that whether it is the ego talks or the real divine inspiration coming from above. Yes, I feel that this is all I want to share.